Hey everybody, this is Jason Hires. So I'm getting a minor uptick of people that have been commenting on my videos, and also I kind of got a request to do some more videos. I haven't done one for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and do a video, and today I'm going to talk about an album by Arcade Fire, and this album is called Reflektor. So, now, I like Arcade Fire, and they're kind of darlings of the critical circle. They haven't released a whole lot of albums. They've been kind of quiet. They did their first major record release on a major label called Everything Now. And Everything Now has some good songs, but Everything Now is a little bit of a miss, I would say, overall. It's not terrible, but it's definitely a little bit of a miss. There are some good songs, though. This album is the one that was immediately before Everything Now, and this one's called Reflektor. Now, the weird thing about Arcade Fire is they got a lot of attention for their first album, and then they got a lot of attention for their third album, or no, I think it's actually their fourth album, called The Suburbs. And that was the one that won them like an alternate album of the year or something like that. It got a lot of positive press. And this one, on the other hand, really didn't get a lot of positive press, but in my mind, this is a far better album. This is Arcade Fire's best album. And there's a couple of different reasons why I kind of stand by that. First of all, there's a lot of really good songs. And the thing about this album is that there's well, first of all, they like to do really long albums, and as a single album, it kind of gets a little bit long to listen to in one stretch, because they like to get into the 70s. You know, they really push the max size for the CD. But this album, they made the jump up to a double album, and what they did was they split it up into two albums, and they're more of a, you know, like an approachable listening time, more like 40-45 minutes for two albums. And the way they split it up, they also have the one disc, the first disc, which generally speaking has the majority of the strong tracks. So the first disc of this album is really like the gem disc of this album. It's the best disc. And so it starts off really strong. It starts off with the Reflektor, the title track, which also features a nice little background vocal cameo from David Bowie. We Exist, Flashbulb Eyes, Here Comes the Nighttime, Normal Person, You Already Know, and Joan of Arc. And like for instance, they recorded a lot of this in Haiti, and they use a lot of Latin American rhythms, but this is Latin American rhythms, though, Haitian rhythms. This isn't, you know, like Jamaican, you know, this isn't reggae. It's actually Latin American rhythms, so it's a different kind of sound. And using these different rhythms really adds a lot of texture to the songs. It gives the songs an extra flavor to them, makes them more exotic. Like Reflektor definitely is show us this. Flashbulb Eyes has some like steel drums and a few other things in it. Normal Person is kind of a fun song because it's basically playing on the idea that you know, people that are really worried about being normal are kind of like bullies, or, you know, like, why aren't you a normal person kind of thing. And Joan of Arc is a really great song. I really like that song. So this first disc especially is really good. Now the second disc isn't quite as good, but there's still some really strong songs on there. Like I like It's Never Over, it's Afterlife, and Supersymmetry are good songs. So overall, this is a really strong disc, and to me, this is the best Arcade Fire album by far. So if you're going to start with Arcade Fire, I would really recommend that you start with this album. Now, it's also interesting because it's produced by James Murphy, who is the main contributor for a band called LCD Soundsystem. And they're an interesting band in their own right. They have a couple of albums that, while I don't know if they're really review-worthy, they do have some things that are worth listening to, and they're definitely a band that are worth keeping an eye on. I don't know if they're officially broken up or not. I don't think they are. Now, Arcade Fire is primarily the songwriting and most of the singing is done by Wim Butler. He's their Arcade Fire's #1 person, the chief songwriter and the singer. And so, but this album, because it touches its toes into some of this more exotic rhythms and some other things, it gives it more of an interesting sort of palette of sounds to pull from, and it makes it a little bit more exotic, and it adds a lot of flavor to it. And that's why this particular album really stands out for the Arcade Fire. Now, every Arcade Fire album has really good songs, and there really isn't an Arcade Fire album that doesn't at least have 1 or 2 pretty strongly constructed songs. But this album is the one where top to bottom the songs are more consistent and better throughout the whole thing. And the splitting it up into 2 separate discs, like I said, helps it make it more digestible, so you can kind of split it up, listen to the 1 disc at a time instead of listening to both in one shot. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. I'm getting more comments. I'm sure that all has to do with people being bored and stuck at home because of the coronavirus. I'm with you. I am also trying to find a job, which makes life really crazy right at the moment. But so I may start filming these videos from a different location in a little while. But I'm still here, and I'll still keep working on it. And I appreciate you guys being my fans. And please subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.